say I have a problem with her, for example, okay, something's wrong between me and her, right? We cannot communicate, we do not work well, okay? So when you say problem, you mean something wrong. Behavior problems means something wrong with the behavior, okay? Whether it is the behavior of the students or it is the behavior of the teacher, right? So when behavior problems happen, teaching and learning cannot happen because something is wrong with the behavior of the students or with the behavior of the teacher, right? So that's the meaning of behavior problems. Where do they come from? Just like group F just told us, okay, maybe something that happened in the family of the students, okay, maybe something that happens with the students, right? They are having a problem with something, okay, and then they translate it into disruptive behavior in class, or it can be a problem with the teacher, all right? Okay, so question number 2. If problem happens, right? So what can teachers do? How do teachers deal with problems? Group H. Okay, sorry, anyone? Okay, some of you just wanted to answer.
Yes, I'm from group N.
N, okay.
Yes, so for me, how can teacher deal with this problem? So the teacher must stay calm and more patient and act more smart. And they can use some steps. Some first, the teacher need to give the clear rules. It means they set the boundaries on day 1 or day 2. And the next very good acts, like reward good behavior often.
Okay.
We have also the teacher need to have individual conversation. If some student have some problems, so we need not show them in front of the class. So we need to talk with them in private. And
so be calm, talk to your students.
Yes, it means private talk, no private talk.
Okay.
Yes. And no yelling. It means keep our voice. It's calm and soft, not so loud voice. The more get them more afraid.
Okay. So no yelling.
Yes, and parent teamwork, so we can call the parent to
ask for help from the parents. Yes. Okay. Anything else?
That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Group N. Anyone else having anything to add?
Yes. For me, I will answer this question. Teachers can set clear and fair classroom rules, plan interesting and engaging lesson, give students achievable challenges and opportunity for success, and we must create a safe environment for the students to for them to have a safe space to see their own problem, but not try to avoid it. And finally, is reflect on their teaching and improve their practice.
Okay, all right, good. But I think your answer may suggest with how to prevent problems, right? When you say set clear rules and then encourage positive behavior, but when problems happen, how can you deal with it?
Sorry, I don't. I can tell difference between two things you said before.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good. Thank you. I think your your answers may be is better suited to question number 3. Okay. So how can we?
I see.
How can we build a good classroom and then prevent problems? Okay. But number 2, for example, if you're teaching and then your students are talking about something else in class and they don't pay attention to you, what can you do? Or when you ask them to do a homework and they don't do the homework, what can you do? Any other group? Okay. If you ask a question and nobody answer, what can you do? Right? So those are the questions get to the things they can do, when problems happen in class, right? So to answer the questions that we have over here, first of all, we need to understand what behavioral problems are and where do they come from, okay? So problems can happen anytime in class, right? So when you're teaching and then you ask the student a question and they're busy talking about something else, they don't pay attention to you, they cannot answer the question, that's a problem, okay? You're teaching up here and then two students have a quarrel down there and they fight, okay, and they shout and then they disrupt everybody's learning, that's a problem, okay? You give them a homework, nobody does the homework, you come to class, okay, nobody has an answer for the question that you gave, that's a problem, okay? So those are the problems, and where do they come from, right? The first source of problem that you see comes from the family. It may be something happening back home, right? So if you come from a family that is having problem, it is very difficult for you to concentrate and to learn in class, right? So if mama and papa is shouting, is fighting at home, it is very difficult for the child to pay attention to what the teacher is saying, right? So number one, the family. Number two, it comes from your own learning experiences and expectations, right? So for example, you may come to class and you expect to have a lot of fun, to have a lot of games, okay? You expect to have fun all day, and then you come to class and the teacher gives you too many exercises, right? You don't have any fun, you have to do all the exercises, a lot of exercises and then homework, then it can cause problem too. You may develop a negative experience, like a reaction to that. Or it can come from, approval seeking behavior, right? You may try to get the attention of the teacher. You may try to get the attention of your friends. You may try to get the attention of one particular person in the classroom, okay? And then you just focus on that and you don't pay attention to the rest of what's happening in the lesson. It can be something that the teacher does, right? So if the teacher have something inappropriate to say or something inappropriate to do, it may also, cause problems with the students, and they may have, trouble learning after that. It can come from, success and failure, right? Different reactions to success and failure. If the lesson is too easy, everybody can do it. They may lose interest and they will not pay attention. If the lesson is too difficult, for example, they can be discouraged and they don't see any good cause, okay, or good reason to continue learning and so on, right? Or maybe something happens in the external environment, maybe too cold, maybe too hot, it may be too noisy, it may be too crowded, okay, it may be too bright, it may be too dark, and so on, okay? So all of the elements may cause behavioral problems in class, okay? And so when problems happen, what can we do? Here in the book, they give you a list of suggestions of what the teacher can do when problems happen, okay? So when there's something wrong happening in a lesson, what can you do? The number one rule is for you to act immediately. If something is wrong, you stop the lesson and you address it. You don't ignore it, okay? If you ignore it and then later you come back to it, it becomes ineffective, right? So for example, if I'm talking in class and then you're doing something else, you're talking to your friend, and I ignore you, okay? And then after 10 minutes, I say, hey, by the way, 10 minutes ago, you were talking to your friend. That is not effective, right? It is a good advice that you act immediately. But it was also meant for you to be calm when you address the problem, okay? It is very important for you to keep calm when you address the student, especially when, like the problem the student causes is annoying. Because if you lose your calm, then you can have bigger problems, right? So for example, if I'm teaching and then some of you were not paying attention, you are doing something else, and I got mad and I shout at you and I stopped the lesson and I asked you to go out of the classroom, for example, then we can have bigger problems because the class may be too tired, maybe too fearful, okay, and they refuse to cooperate and so on, right? So it is important that you keep calm and then you address the problem immediately. When you address it, it is important for you to get close, and then sometimes it is a good idea to talk in private, right? Because many of the problems come from the students, right? And when they come from the students, there may be some reason for them to behave that way, right? So when you get close and you talk to them in private, you build trust, and then with trust, you can address the problem easier. And when you deal with it, it is important to focus on the behavior and not the student, right? This is, something that a lot of teachers get wrong. When you have a problematic student, right, students who always cause the problem, it is very easy for you to have a problem with him or her, right? And then you turn what he does or what she does in class into something about him or her, right? And that is not a good idea. So when you deal with a problem with a student, you want to make sure that you have a problem with what they do, you don't have a problem with them. Okay, so focus on the behavior and the student. If the student talk in class, you say, I don't like that you talk in class. Okay, but it makes you something like, I don't like you, they will continue to talk in class next time. Okay. And then you take things forwards or sideways. Sometimes you have to address a student directly. Sometimes, so for example, when a problem happens because of something else, right? Because of their family or because of something that they don't want to share, you probably will have to take it sideways, okay? And then you use clearly agreed sanctions when you address them, right? So for example, if you do not do the homework, okay, I say if you don't do the homework, I will not give you credit for the lesson, okay? I will take away the points that you have for the class. And then if everybody agreed to the sanctions before, you can apply it, right? And you can use the class to your advantage, or sometimes you can use other people, other colleagues in the institution, right? So those are the things that you can do to deal with problems when they happen in class, right? And then we come to the third question about how to cultivate an environment where problems do not happen, okay? So how to build a classroom that is destined for success, right? So two major set of rules that you have here for building successful classroom. Number one is that you encourage behavior norms, right? So norms, what are norms? Okay, norms come from normal, okay? You may not know what norm is, but you know what normal is, right? Normal means things that happen regularly, right? So norms also mean things that happen regularly, okay? So if the students do something every day, it will become something that is built into their brain, okay? They will always remember it and they can always do it, okay? It saves you time and it sets up good behavior, right? So for example, if you ask your student to stand up every time, a teacher comes into the classroom, it becomes a norm, okay? So every time someone who is not a student comes to the classroom, they stand up and they greet the person, right? That is, a positive norm, right? If they do it every day, it will take them very short time to do it, and they can do it more efficiently, right? So first of all, discuss and then negotiate and then implement the norms and then keep revisiting and then revise, okay? Revising. And number two is to set up, behaviors that is good for successful learning and teaching, right? And then you try to be consistent about it. You establish routines and procedures, okay? You make sure that everybody know what they should do and what is expected of them. And then you plan for engagement, for collaboration, and then you treat everybody equally. You prioritize success and you treat them equally in the classroom, right? So those are the things that teachers can do to make their teaching and learning effective, okay? All right, I'd like to continue with two discussion questions over here, right? So number one, what are some common behavior problems that teachers face from your own experiences, okay? And then number two, how would the teachers deal with the problems? So all of you here, some of you here have been teachers, right? So you have stood in front of a classroom where students did something wrong and you have deal with it, Okay, I want you to give me some examples of what may happen, what may go wrong in the classroom, and how can you deal with it. Okay, if you have never been a teacher, all of you here have been a student sometimes in your life, right? So you have done, or you have seen your friends done something wrong, okay, to the teacher, to disrupt the teaching and learning process, right? So can you recount the experience, tell us about the experience, and then give us some idea of how we can deal with those kind of problems, right? So we have two discussion problems over here. I'm going to give you 7 minutes to discuss in your group, and after 7 minutes, okay, I'm going to ask you for your answers, right? All right, 7 minutes, go. All right. So we have had 7 minutes to talk about this. Does anyone want to share some of the examples that you have seen as a teacher or as a student? When you become a teacher, what may go wrong in your classroom and how would you deal with it? Anyone? Group C?
Yeah, hello, teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Group C. And for me, my student didn't do homework because they think it too difficult or they didn't have enough time. And in this case, I would ask them about the reason first and give them simpler and more manageable. I could also remind them about the importance of doing homework, embrace them when they complete it. Yeah.
Okay. So you changed the assignment to make it easier for them.
Yeah. Yes.
To have them do it. Okay. All right. Good. Why would you do that?
Because I think my student think it's too difficult and I give them simpler. So when they complete, I give them more difficult.
Okay.
To
So
practice. Yes.
If one or two of them say it's too difficult, it may not be difficult, right? But everybody says it's difficult, it may be too difficult for them, right? So in that case, you have to change
Yes.
the assignment to make it simpler, right? And then you can have them scaffold it so that they can begin to do more challenging tasks in the future. Very good.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you,
Group
teacher.
C.
Yeah.
Does any other group have another problem that you want to share?
Yeah, I will share my own experience. For me, depend of the age level or depend of the grade. Like example, I'm a teacher in primary age, so they have another problem. But focus most about chatting with each other. And they are fighting with each other about the toys or about the pens or about the notebook. It means anything they can fighting with each other, hitting.
Okay.
And they are tearing paper. It means they use their own paper. They will make the airplane, different kind of toys, and they are very noisy in the class. So,
okay.
When I did so, of course, if although they are always chatting with other, I need to separate them, and I need to more get intention. You always ask them about the question about the lesson. So they will more focus more about lesson. So the people hitting peers, so some days they are always fighting with each other with any reason. Very simple. They are crying. It means especially in grade one. So I face many. They are very small kids, so at least we need to. It means they need a lot of attention. So I also need to call them attention and also most patient also to let them to feel the love of the teacher and the care. So that deal so I see is the student more better and more focused in the lesson.
Okay, very good. Right. So the examples that you give when the students talk to each other in class, or when they fight in class, or when they don't pay attention to the teacher, right? Those are the examples of attention-seeking behavior, right? And for the attention-seeking behavior, it is important that you disrupt their behaviors and then you keep them interested or connected to the lesson by asking them questions, for example, or like by trying new things to make them interested and hooked in the lesson. Very good. Anyone else? Let's hear from one more person. What other problems do you see or have you experienced in your classroom? Yes.
Hello, teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I am group A.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. For me, from my experience, students often take to their brain low focus or do not follow instruction. I wish the problem by setting clear expectation, using interesting activity, pricing good behavior, and student did help reach first positive and successful classroom.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Group A. Right. So from your answers, we know that when you become a teacher, things may go wrong. Okay, and when things may go wrong, they will go wrong. A lot of things may happen in classroom that will disrupt your teaching and your students' learning. Okay, so when you become a teacher, the first thing you need to prepare to do is to be prepared to deal with problems when they happen in class, right? And the best way for you to be prepared to deal with problems in class is to know where the problems come from, right? If the problems come from the student themselves, you deal with it in another way. If the problems come from the family of the students themselves, we deal with it in a different way. Okay. If the problems come from the lesson itself, right? So for example, it can be too easy, it can be too difficult, it can be too boring, okay, it can be too noisy. You deal with the problems in a different way. Or the problem can come from you yourself, right? So if the problem come from the teacher, right, what can we do about it? What should you change to help the student learn in the most effective way? Okay, so those are the questions that you need to keep asking yourself when you become a teacher, right? Where do the problems come from, and what can we do about it? Okay, all right. So these questions are not just discussion questions that you have now, but also the questions for you to continue to think and continue to answer as we go along. Okay. All right. Now we move on to the second part of our discussion today, and we'll talk about technology for teaching and learning. Okay. All right. So before we dive into what technology is and what kind of technology we can use for teaching and learning, I want you to, excuse me, I want you to look at the two diagrams in the book that we saw. Okay. The first one on the right is figure number 1, reverse resource pyramid. Okay. When you look at this, you see on top we have language labs, we have videos, we have computers, we have PowerPoints, and then as we go down, we have cassette recorders, overhead projectors, photocopiers, whiteboards, books, papers, pens, blackboards, and then nothing. Okay. If you go down, you see, you go from more modern and more complex technology to nothing, right? And then the figure on the left, you see, is the reverse, right? So you begin at the bottom, right? At the bottom, you can see a lot of, like modern and complex technologies like language labs, like videos, like computers and PowerPoints. And as you go up, okay, you move to the simpler and more direct technology like real life or people, okay? So I want you to take a look at the two pyramids over here and tell me what they mean. Okay, what do the author mean? What does the author mean by pyramid number 1 on the right and pyramid number 2 on the left? Okay, and what do they tell you about technology and teaching and learning? Okay, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to think and answer. And then after 5 minutes, I'm going to ask some of you for your answers. Okay? All right, 5 minutes go. Okay, what do the two pyramids mean? How do you interpret it? Why do we have a pyramid upside down like this? Okay, and why do we have, one up like this? Why? Can anyone answer the question? What do you think? Group B. Why do we have like a pyramid like this on the left, and then why is it reversed on the right? What does it tell you about teaching and learning?
Yes.
B.
Hello, teacher. I'm from Group B.
Okay.
And I see that the pyramid other way up. I see the top. It start with people in real life. It mean interaction between the teacher and student, along with the real world examples. It's the most valuable part of learning. The middle, like blackboards, paper and pens, and books connect to support the lesson. And the bottom with high technology like computers and PowerPoint is as the small base. So technology is just an extra tool, not the main focus of the classroom. Yes, and with the pyramid reverse resources, I see that the top is the high technology like a computer, PowerPoint, videos. So it means that the lesson is built entirely around digital screens. The middle, with traditional tools like books and paper, are used less. Yes, and the bottom with nothing. I see that because the pyramid is flipped upside down, so there is no foundation of people and real life at the bottom. It show if the technology break or disappears, the teacher has nothing left to support the student and learning stops.
All right, so according to you, you think these are the two different ways that people teach?
Yeah, pardon?
Is it true? Do you think that these are the two different ways that people teach? The first way, like people or real life is the most important, and then technology is just like the support or, like the things that add on, right?
Yeah.
And then the second way, you rely a lot on technology, right? Or, teaching resources, and then you don't have a backup plan. So when things go wrong, okay, the lesson can be upended. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I choose the with the pyramid the figure two other way up. I push the people and real life on the top.
Okay. So you agree with this one? You think this is the right way to teach?
Yes.
Okay. All right, good. Thank you. Thank you, Group B. Does anyone have a different interpretation? What do you think? Why do we have, like pyramid like this? And why do we have a pyramid like this? Why? Group G.
Hello, teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm from Group G. I think the reason why we have two different pyramids like that is because they show two opposite ways of thinking about resources, technology for learning. The normal pyramid is suggests that simple human-based resources are more important than expensive technology. The main idea is that technology is useful, but teachers, students, and real-life experiences can be even more valuable for learning.
Okay.
The upside down one is the opposite way. When the idea is that more advanced technology is considered more valuable or important. So yeah.
Okay. So
Yes.
also you think there are two different viewpoints on teaching and learning. Okay.
Yeah, that's what.
Number one, focus on teacher and real life, and then number two focuses on technology.
That's right.
And which one do you agree with?
I think I'm more about the first one, about the normal pyramid. That I agree with it. That good learning does not always require expensive technology.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you. All right. So we have heard from Group B and Group G giving their interpretation of, like the two pyramids up here, right? And why it is up to you to give your own interpretation. I think I agree with what you make out of the two pyramids over here, right? If you look at the one on the right, okay, you see if you go from the bottom, you start with nothing, okay? And then you have blackboard and then paper and pens and so on. And then you come up to the top, you have language labs, you have videos, you have computers, you have PowerPoints, right? So if you look at this, you may realize that it is the history of teaching and learning, okay? When we first begin teaching and learning, we began with nothing, okay? The first classroom in the world, the first lesson in the world started with nothing, just the teacher and the student. Right? They got together, the teacher taught, the student listened and learned. That's teaching and learning happening. Okay? And as we go up, as we go along, we begin to add more things into the classroom. We begin adding blackboards, we begin adding pens and papers, we begin adding whiteboards and books to the classroom. Okay? As teaching and learning develop, okay, or like evolve, then more things are brought into the classroom. And then we come to a time where we bring more than just books or boards or blackboards or whiteboard or paper and pens, right? We start to have TV, we start to have projectors, right? We start to have cassette players, we start to have photocopiers, and then you have language labs, you have videos, you have computers, you have PowerPoint. Now what do we have? Okay, now we have even more, right? We have the internet, we have AI, okay, we have virtual reality where you can sit in the classroom and then you can travel around the world. Okay, if you put like a video on the screen, you may be in a different country. Okay, you may speak in a different language and so on. So a lot more is being added to the language classroom, right? It started with nothing, but now we have a lot of things, right? But when we have a lot of things like this, does it mean that teaching and learning becomes easier or more effective? Not necessarily so. Okay, so when you look at the second pyramid, you may see that even when we have a lot of technology available at our disposal, okay, we have a lot of technology for us to use. If teaching and learning do not depend on the real people or the real life situation happening, right? Then teaching and learning is still not effective, right? Technology begins and ends with people. So even if you have a lot of technology available, but if you don't know how to use it or how to use it well to help the people teach and to help the people learn, then technology is meaningless, right? So this is, I think, what the author want to say to us, right? We have, more and more advanced technology coming to us, coming to our classroom. The question is, How can you use them effectively? How does it help teaching and learning? Okay, how does it help the people? Right? All right, good. Now, let's move on to this, I think, quite interesting exercise, right? What you see here on the board is the photo of a classroom, okay, a language classroom. Now, can you take a quick look at the classroom and you tell me what kind of technology or resources do you see in the classroom, okay? How can we use them for teaching and learning? And what else do you think you want to add to the room and why? Okay, I'm going to give you 1 minute to think, and after 1 minute, I'm going to ask you for your answers. Okay, so what resources you can see, how can they be used, and what else could you bring to the room? All right, 1 minute, go. All right, what can you see here in the classroom? What resources are there? Anyone?
Sure. I can see a whiteboard, a TV, lots of desks and table. Also,
Okay.
chairs, and I can see two air conditioner.
Anything else? Use the whiteboard, TV, desk and chairs, and air conditioner.
Yeah.
And?
That's all picture.
Okay. All right. So what can you use the whiteboard for? How can we use the whiteboard?
In the whiteboard is used for the teacher to write down the grammars, the vocab, maybe explaining the lesson.
Okay, so to write.
Yes, and so same with the TV, but the TV you can connect it with their laptop to show a picture, some videos for the students to take a more clear example.
Pictures, videos. Okay.
And chairs and table is for the student to have a comfortable condition to learn.
Okay. How are the chairs and tables arranged? In what kind of arrangement?
I feel that they arrange in so
how are they arranged?
Around the cloud, and the chairs arranged around table. And for me, I don't like this kind of setup. Because,
why not?
Because there are some seat will be blocking by the view. They cannot see the board or the TV clearly. And
Okay, some people will have their back on the wall, okay, or on blackboard. You cannot see. Okay, so you have chairs and table for the student to work. Okay, and you don't like it. What about the air conditioner? What about the AC?
The AC is for making the atmosphere would be more comfortable. They would be not being too hot or too cold during
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the air conditioner is for comfort. All right, good. Thank you. Does anyone else see anything or would like to add anything? What else do you also see besides the tables, beside the chairs, beside the whiteboard or the TV?
Hello, teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I can see a projector.
Okay, yes. That's a
It's
projector.
above the whiteboard.
Mm-hmm. What can we use the projector for?
I think we use it to show video, pictures, and presentation.
Yeah. Projector, you can project, like videos, presentation, okay, and so on, right? Anything
Yeah.
else?
Yeah, that's all.
Mm-hmm. So you have a whiteboard for you to write, you have a projector to project things, you have a TV to show videos or pictures or, songs or music, okay? You have a table and chair for a student to work, and they arrange in what we call group pods, right? Last time we talked about this. These are group pods, right? So student can sit in group, and then you have the AC for comfortable atmosphere in the classroom. Anything else? What else do you also see?
Yeah, I can see the trash can
Trash can, yes. Okay.
and the
What
rough,
is?
the rough, it means bright blue on floor.
Okay.
The
You have the floor.
painting.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the
So what can
window.
you use trash can for, and why do you think the floor is blue?
Maybe this one for is usually for using meeting or about study biology and discussing a meeting area. That's why they put the table by group already.
Okay.
For chair, yes, evening group sharing.
Yeah. So they can work in group, they can share ideas, okay, they can brainstorm, and if they don't like the idea, they can throw it in a trash can, right? So they can have free brainstorming. And then the blue floor here makes you feel maybe, more relaxed, right? When you come to the classroom. Okay. Good. Anything else?
The window.
Yes. Okay, the window.
I think
Why?
they need by glass because of course inside they use the air condition. So and it means during they are discussing meeting, not close window but by glass so they can see outside. It's more.
Okay, they can see outside.
Yes.
And what else can they do with the window?
It means the sun can come in.
Okay. Sun can come in and give you light, right?
Yes.
Very good. They can give you light and you can see outside so that you don't get bored. Okay. Anything else? So you see the AC, you see projector, you see the TV, table and chairs, trash can, the floor, okay, the windows. Anything else? You also see the lights, right? So besides, natural light from the window, you also have artificial light, right? Yes, you can also see, the walls, for example, here, okay, they are in gray and so on. All right, so those are the things that you have available in a classroom, okay? And for the technology that you have in the classroom, they serve some kind of purpose, right? They have a function, they serve some kind of purpose. So maybe you have the blackboard for you to write on, you have the whiteboard also to write on, but also to project things to it, right? You have the TV to show movies, to show videos, okay? You have the AC to make sure that the room is comfortable for you to sit in. You have table and chairs to help you work together, okay, move around the room easily. You have trash cans so that you can experiment with, your own ideas or your friends' ideas, right? So a lot of things that you can use in the classroom. Now, what else would you add to the room to make it even better?
Hi, teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would add some more colors to the room. Since I
Colors.
think,
Mm-hmm.
since I think it's kind of bored, I think it's kind of plain. It's just like white and blue. I think a classroom should have more colors to encourage students to be more creative and also to trigger their creativity.
Okay, very good. Agree. Okay, some more colors. What kind of colors will you bring?
I think I would bring some like pictures or projects of the students have made, like the maybe drawings and maybe their projects with a lot of colors to bring out the room.
Okay, very good. So you can hang pictures or you can hang posters, right?
Yes.
Projects that they have done on a wall. Okay, good. Anything else? What else can you bring to the room? You have TV.
G.
I'm sorry.
I'm from group G.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I would add some flashcard or real life objects. For example, if we are learning about the fruit or the toys, they can bring on things or the teacher can support them, and they can learn new vocabulary from these real life objects.
Okay, yeah. So depending on the lesson, you may bring, like toys, or you may bring, like books, or you may bring fruits and so on. Okay. All right, good. Anything else?
Just for me, I will put more bookshelves.
Books.
Yes, because
Okay.
maybe they're meeting, they need books. And we put
Alright, good.
the plants. It means so flower or plants inside the yes.
Okay, books
We
and
put one picture on the wall, so make the classroom more nicer. And
so
I put
books.
the clock.
Good.
Yeah.
Clock.
Yes, and I will put more water dispenser because I think on most of them they ring their tumbler and cup, so no need to go out. Sometimes we have important meetings, so they just get water inside the classroom.
Very good. Okay. So even when the room is very modern looking, okay, and has a lot of equipment like this, you can always add things to it, right? You can add a clock, you can add books, you can add plants, you can add pictures, projects, posters, flashcards, objects, or water dispenser. Right. So a lot of things that you can add to a classroom. So when you become a teacher, right, usually you have a room to teach in. So always keep asking yourself, what is available in the room? Okay, what do I have available in the room, and what else can I bring to it? Okay, and how can I use the resources that I have available in the room? You may have a projector in the room, but you may never use the projector. Okay, if you just teach with the blackboard or with the whiteboard, then there's no use for the projector, right? You may have a TV in the room, but you may never use the TV. Okay, if you always just give the student exercises and do the exercises in the book, then the TV may not be necessary. So always keep asking yourself, what kind of technology do I have available? Okay, and how can we use it? Sometimes it's the reverse, right? Sometimes you plan your lesson with a lot of technology, and then the classroom has no technology. Okay, so how will you teach in those situations, right? So that's the question that you should ask yourself. What kind of resources do I have, and how can I use them efficiently? Okay. But when you plan your lesson with technology, okay, beware of the issues that come with it. Okay. Number one, you have the digital divide, right? And the digital divide is a term that we use to talk about the gap between the rich and the poor in terms of technology, right? If you come from a rich family, if you have a rich background, a wealthy, affluent background, then technology is something that you are used to, right? So in your home, there may be a TV, there may be a projector, there may be a computer, there may be smartphones, there may be tablets, okay, and then you're used to them, right? But if you come from a less wealthy or less affluent family, then those things may not exist in their home, in your home, okay? So when you come to class and the class is too reliant on technology and you don't have the technology at home, you don't have internet connection at home, you don't have a computer at home, you don't have, like a smart TV at home, then it can be a problem, okay? It can cause, the gap to widen between you and your friends. Number two, when you plan with technology, make sure that your students or your learners are literate, okay? Digitally literate, meaning they can work with the computer, they can work with Google Classroom, they can work with email, okay? They can work with, Microsoft Word or PowerPoint or so on. Okay. If you plan your lesson around technology and your students have never worked with Classroom before, have never worked with YouTube before, okay, have never worked with Google Forms before, then it could be a problem. Okay. And then finally, you be aware of the unequal participation. Not everybody enjoy technology. Okay. Not everybody learning with technology. So when you plan around technology, some people may like it, some people may not. Okay. And that may lead to unequal participation. So think about all these things when you plan your lesson around technology. Okay. Because it may be useful, it may be helpful, but it may also be not useful and not helpful. Right? Okay, so that's everything we need to know about the lesson today. We talk about behavioral problems and we talk about technology. Now, I want you to think and discuss the two questions here in your group. Okay. Number one, what technological resources are you using in your lesson plan? So you're planning your lesson, okay? What kind of technology are you thinking of using? And number two, how do you plan to make it work? Okay, if you're using the computer, how do you plan to make it work? If you're using Kahoot, for example, how do you plan to make it work? If you are showing the student a video, how do you ensure that they will see the video? Okay, if you are going to give them a quiz on Google Forms, for example, how do you ensure that they will be able to do the quiz on Google Form? Okay, so I want you to think about the two questions over here for 7 minutes and then maybe discuss it with your friends, okay, and get some idea. And these ideas will go into your lesson plan. Okay, so think about this for 7 minutes before we continue with the next activity. Okay, so you have talked about what kind of technology or resources that you want to use in your lesson plan. Okay, I want you to add that to your individual lesson plan and also to the unit plan. Okay, by making another heading here called materials and resources. Right. So, what kind of materials and resources are you using in your lesson plan? You can add one more item over here and then start to talk about the kind of material resources that you're using. Okay, so add that to your unit plan and also add that to your individual lesson plan. Okay, all right, your next activity is to think about the assumptions and contingency plans, right? So last week we talked a little bit about the assumptions, right? What do you assume when you teach? Okay. So I want you to again answer the questions about your assumptions. What are you assuming about a lesson, about the learners, and about the conditions, right? What will happen if your assumptions are wrong? Okay. What may go wrong in the classroom? And if things go wrong, what can you do to deal with it? Right? I want you to think and then discuss within your group for 15 minutes. Okay. And then you will, number one, okay, you will tell me the material and resources that you are going to use. And then number two, you will tell me about your assumptions and contingency plans, right? So discuss and then write your answers into your unit plan and your individual lesson plans. Okay. All right, so work on this thing. We'll work on this second thing. Okay, talk about your assumptions and then contingency plans. Work on it for 15 minutes. Go.
Teacher, can I ask something?
Yes.
Do we need to submit the individual lesson plan and the group lesson plan by the end of the lesson?
By the end of the lesson? What do you mean?
Because my laptop isn't working, so I.
Not today. You just
not
keep
today.
adding to it, and it will be part of your portfolio.
Okay. Thank you, teacher.
Yeah. All right. I want you to continue to do this and then put this in your unit plan and your individual lesson plan. Okay. You can add, before add, one more heading for materials and resources, and then continue to give your answers in the assumptions and contingency plans in both of the plans. All right. So this will be your homework for today. Okay. So for today, your homework, you have two things to do. Number one, what are your anticipated problems and contingency plans, right? So think about your assumptions, think about your problems, and then your contingency plan. Okay, what will you do to avoid the problems, or what will you do when problems happen, and put it in the plan. Okay, and then number two, I want you to list the extra materials or the tools and technologies and resources that you are using in your lesson. Okay, and then think about whether or not they are available, what can go wrong, okay, what are some backup plans, right? So for example, if you plan to use Kahoot in teaching and then Kahoot is not working, what is your backup plan? If you're going to use, like PowerPoint in teaching and there is no electricity, no power on the day, what will you do? Okay, so those are the two things for you to work between now and tomorrow and then reflect it in your lesson plan. Okay. All right, so that's the end of the lesson that we have today. Before we end, I'm just gonna see very quickly if anyone has any question. Any question about what we talked about today?
Yes, I want to ask about the materials and resources. So in the group lesson plan, so we have, of course, we have the same materials, resources, but we have 5 different teaching activities. So we have different also the material and resources.
Right. Okay.
So how can we put the common materials resources here?
You just put a summary in here. Okay. So you work on your individual lesson plan first. So for example, if you're teaching grammar and you're using, like a video, for example, you can put the video in here and give the link to the video. Okay. Or you say you will need, like a projector or a TV to show the video. And then after you have looked at the 5 different individual lesson plan, you can write a summary out here. Okay, so what kind of material and resources will you use to teach all of the lessons in here?
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Teacher.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a question, but I just want to say that in the beginning of the lesson, my team was learning on one computer, but that computer didn't have like the right audio, so it kept having mistakes, and I cannot hear you. So I kept got logged out of the lessons. So I just wanted to say sorry because if I didn't hear if you called my team, but my team is team M, is group M. So if you have called my team and we have not answered, so I'm sorry because I just switched it and my laptop is not connecting to the audio.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. No problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Any other questions or anything to say? All right, if not, you can take a short break. Okay, it's now 8:47, so you have something like a 10-minute break before you take the quiz number 1. Remember, today you have the first quiz, right? So after 10 minutes, come back, you will see quiz number 1 open, right? When you see it open, click on the link and do the quiz. Okay, and then you have half an hour to do it, exactly 30 minutes to do it. Okay, if you do not submit by 9:30, you will not be able to submit, right? So make sure that you submit before 9:30. That is very important. Okay, if you wait until 9:31, you will not be able to submit. Okay, so make sure that you submit before 9:30. If you have no question, go take a break. Okay, have a glass of water, go relieve yourself, and then come back here at 9, do the quiz. Okay, I'm gonna stay here until 9:30. So if you have questions, you can come back after 9:30 after you have submitted a quiz and come back and ask me questions. If not, you are free to go, and I will see you again tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Okay?
Teacher, I have a question. I don't
Yes.
see the quiz one in my classroom.
It will open at 9 o'clock. Okay, it's not 9 o'clock, so it's not open yet.
Yes, thank you, teacher.
Okay, you will see it at 9 o'clock. All right. Okay, thank you, everybody. If I don't see you again tomorrow. Okay. All right. Good luck with the quiz, and then good night. 4 minutes left. Two minutes left. Thirty seconds left.
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes.
So I sent you an email about my request to be absent this Saturday, but I haven't received a response yet. So I just want to check if my absence can be approved.
I will let you know later. I've been busy. I haven't got time to reply to emails.
Yeah.
I will reply later.
Thank you, teacher.
Okay.